Welcome to the Saco School Board meeting. Today is February 11th, 2026. All school board members are present with the exception of School Board Warnoff, who is excused, and tonight we have Assistant Superintendent Parkhurst sitting in for Superintendent Ray. Please join me for the pledge. Okay, next on the agenda is the approval of the school board meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair?
School board member Johnston?
Thank you. I move we approve the school board meeting minutes dated January 28th, 2026.
Second.
I have a motion by Beth Johnston and a second by school board member Preble. Any discussions? Seeing none, roll call. School board member Preble?
Yes.
School board member Richard?
Abstain. I was absent.
Okay. School board member Roach?
Yes.
School board member Kidder?
Yes.
I vote yes. School board member Johnston?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0 and 1 abstention. Next on the agenda is any adjustments to the agenda. I see none. Number 5, correspondence. I don't have any correspondence. Number 6, public session. If you wish to speak, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Okay, seeing no one seeking recognition, moving on to number 7, superintendent's report. Assistant Superintendent Parkhurst.
Thank you. Couple of items this evening. The Center of Technology is currently scheduling program visits. If your child is interested in career and technical education opportunities, applications are being accepted for the 26-27 school year. We encourage parents and students to review the course catalog. Even if you're not of age yet to be looking at those programs, it's always good to familiarize yourself with what's available. That can be found on their website, and feel free to schedule an appointment with their guidance counselor, as those programs do fill up quickly. Unified basketball at Saco Middle School following winter break will begin. This is an incredible group of athletes that promote teamwork, inclusion, and sportsmanship. Spectators always leave with big smiles. It is truly a remarkable experience to watch. If you haven't had an opportunity to do so, highly recommend it. Their first game will be against Biddeford on February 26th at 3:45 at Saco Middle School, and the full schedule is on the Saco Middle School Athletics webpage. Our district is participating in the Department of Ed's Read to Me Challenge. We encourage the community to join us by reading to or with a child at least 15 minutes a night. If you snap a photo or a video and post it with the hashtag #ReadToMe, that will challenge others to read aloud for 15 minutes to a child that they know. So we do hope that our families participate in that. Today we had an early release. Our pre-K through 5 teachers got together to look at the curriculum review process for English language arts following their individual building-based time. Then they worked in collaborative groups to review current research and readings around best practices in English language arts instruction. Our middle school staff completed grade level small block meetings to continue their work with BAR, which is the Building Assets Reducing Risks program that we are utilizing, and during this they meet to discuss students on their team and assess areas of strength or growth or follow up on other plans for individual students. Following that, they met in vertical content area teams to collaborate on curriculum. Also a huge thanks to teachers Anne-Marie Ramsey, Amy Carestia, Lindsay Pfeifenberger, Melissa Goslin, Sarah Wiley, and Rachel Cook. These teachers all participated in a grant-funded professional development module around AIM modules for literacy learning. It's a pretty intensive online course that really dives into the way that the brain learns how to read and helps to improve not only their instructional practices, but those of their colleagues as well. So we appreciate the extra time and effort that they put into that. A reminder that next week is our winter break. Students and teachers will enjoy the week from February 16th to 20th without school, and we look forward to welcoming students back on February 23rd. We had a spelling bee championship occur this Monday, which was an exciting event at Saco Middle School, and we are proud of the students that participated from C.K. Burns and Saco Middle. That's it. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any comments, questions, concerns? I also just want to add that the middle school had their staff versus students basketball game last night. And I went to it with one of my kids, and it was really fun. And I'm sad Mrs. Susie's not here right now because I really wanted to tell her she had a great game. So,
She might be home icing something.
I was going to say, she might be icing because there were some pretty crazy moves last night that I'm sure she was like, oh, feel that tomorrow. Okay, moving on. Chair's report. I have nothing to report. Number 9, staff reports. I don't have any staff reports. Number 10, board subcommittee minutes. We have policy and personnel committee. The next meeting was actually tonight at 5:30. The next will be in March. Finance and infrastructure committee, next meeting is February 25th at 4:30. And curriculum committee, the next meeting is February 23rd at 4:30. Moving on. Number 11, old business. I have no old business. Number 12, new business. First one's new hires. There should be a memo in your packet. No motion is needed, last time I checked. B, resignations. Again, another memo in your packet. No motion is needed. I know, I usually make the motions. You're right, I know. And letter C, building update. Assistant Superintendent Parkhurst.
Thank you. Things are moving quite quickly over at the building site. Lots of exciting things to see. If you go over there, you can feel like a young child again watching all of the dirt being moved around. It's actually pretty entertaining. We have about between 30 to 35 workers on site daily. The earthwork and material excavation is the primary activity that's happening there now. The stormwater drainage system installation is in progress. The water management infrastructure is being piped into the site, and they are preparing for foundation drilling operations with the intent to have that foundation begin in March. The drill rigs will be arriving in the next week or so. They're going to start with 1 drill rig and work their way up to 3 rigs if things proceed smoothly. They'll have to do some test drilling to identify where there might be ledge involved, and certainly require a little bit more depending on where that is. One of the things we've been talking about recently around that ledge and drilling is some blasting restrictions and working with our contractors to make sure that we're communicating with the city the dates of blasting, as well as following the operable windows for different wildlife permits that are needed, et cetera, and we'll continue to move. Hopefully there won't be unexpected ledge there, but as they've said, you never know until you're actually in the exact spot, even though those test drillings have occurred along the way. The site access, that loop road construction is advancing. We had our drone club a couple weeks ago back over there, so we will be releasing a new video where you can see the site progress and really start to see some of those roads and Eastern Trail access route developing. In addition to that, we are working with the geothermal system procurement, which requires all American products. So we're working with Competitive Energy Solutions to make sure that all of our material tracing and tracking is up to date to get the biggest amount of that tax refund as we are able to for that system. We also are looking at the bridge building for the Eastern Trail Bridge that will go over Millbrook, and the design and specifications on that are coming through. Again, upcoming milestones will be that foundation starting in March, and the road access from Route 1 is now fully shut down, and the access road off of Millbrook is opened up for all construction vehicles. So we're very excited about that and looking forward to the official placement of Beth Johnston Way as a road on the map, which should be happening shortly. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Assistant Superintendent Parkhurst? School Board Member Johnston?
Mostly, excuse me, mostly comments. Thank you. It is very exciting. It sounds like things are really, really moving along. And the picture that Kevin Roach took about the 10th of January does not look like that anymore. It looked good then, Kevin, but it really, thanks to our assistant superintendent, I was able to go over there last week, and it really looks like a road now. I mean, it's not done, but it's got a very sort of solid gravel surface, and it is really exciting to see how much they've changed it in a month's time. Plus all of the other things that you've noted, Meg, about the progress that's being made. The bridge sounds exciting too. So I just wanted to thank you for being on top of everything and letting us know. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to also thank Don, who's been very involved in the details that I'm still learning about, and he has a lot more experience in the building and construction area, so I appreciate the team's efforts.
And I echo that. Thank you.
School Board Member Roach?
And Beth, make sure everyone's wearing their hard hats out there, okay? Okay, all right. Usually, when these building updates come, I ask, not every meeting, but about any progress with the DOT, about the Route 1 entrance, turn off lane or lights. And last Monday at the city council meeting, it was a pretty active and a lot of people upset that the city, through one of the commissions, had submitted to the DOT to have Route 1 from 195 all the way to the Scarborough line be basically a 2-lane with a bike lane. And a couple of speakers, the reason why I bring this up is a couple of speakers referenced the schools and our involvement, or whether we were asked for the bike lane for kids to get to school on a Route 1 bike lane. And, I end up speaking at the end to kind of correct that we ideally would like the intersection at Millbrook and the Route 1 entrance to be traffic slowed down, especially during the school hours of coming and going. But at no part did superintendent or this school board ever say that the condition of this location was we needed these big changes to Route 1. I still would personally advocate for that light at Route 1 and maybe the northbound lane to reduce to 1 so the turnoff is easy to approach for the schools and the safety and the buses and all that. But otherwise, that is, to the community, that is not true that somehow we are behind or pushing for that big change in Route 1. I also want to publicly thank the businesses that are at the intersection of Route 1 and Millbrook for the easements that we've already gotten. So, I think it's going great right now, and it's a bonus if the DOT does do something with Route 1, but it's still full steam ahead. So, thanks.
Yeah, I do want to clarify that that is totally separate. The discussions, we already have a traffic movement permit from DOT for the improvements to the Route 1 kind of corridor surrounding the intersection that does include sidewalks, but does not necessarily include any upgrades to bike lanes. We anticipate that any biking to the site would be done through the Eastern Trail for those age levels, which is why we're investing in making sure that there's adequate access from the Eastern Trail to the school site. Though I would also echo that I've heard that there are other Route 1 improvements with advocates on either side to change that, and we certainly have a vested interest in that. However, we have not advocated or had any sway in determining what those plans are. And I would also want to thank you for mentioning the easements. I think we've gotten 4 or 5 in the last week or so, and that's been a great opportunity to speak to landowners and business owners in that area who may or may not have differing levels of knowledge about the project, and folks have been very accommodating with the need, which are all temporary easements, just for the record, where their lawn may be disturbed for a couple of feet in while the sidewalk is expanded, but all of that is occurring within the right-of-way, though as a business owner or landowner, it's very intimidating to get a 4-page legalese document from the city and the school department with a map of your property attached. So we really appreciate those folks that have been willing to meet with us and dialogue about exactly what we need to do. And we've worked with them to talk about business hours and what can and can't be closed and what months will and won't work. So much appreciated.
Great, thank you. Any other questions or comments for Assistant Superintendent Parkhurst? Okay, moving on. D, York County Teacher of the Year nomination.
We would like to congratulate and celebrate Heather Dumas, who's been nominated for the 2026 York County Teacher of the Year from Saco's pre-K. And we wish her luck in the process and hope that you will join us in supporting her nomination.
Great, thank you. All right, moving on. E, Preventing Student Homelessness memo.
So this is just a notice that we've received an additional allocation of just under $2,000. That brings what they ended up doing with that allocation is adding it to the FY25 allocation. I think that's mostly to streamline the invoicing. It brings our total for that Preventing Student Homelessness Grant Award to just over $49,000. That additional just under $2,000 that we received is based on our McKinney-Vento homeless student counts from the October 1st enrollment data, and it was reallocated from the FY25 funds and with that FY26 appropriation. As a little bit of a background, LD 384, an act to prevent student homelessness, allocated the funds initially with $1.5 million in FY24, 25, and in 26 that funding was reduced to $125,000. So it's obviously a much smaller pot of money. We have been able to utilize that money through Aid for Saco Kids to purchase additional food items for families for backpack programs, as well as rent assistance or kind of short-term stopgap things that might help families prevent them from entering into a homeless situation. This next round of expenses we can utilize through March 31st of 2026, and that will round out that funding unless there's additional funding provided through the governor's budget.
Great, thank you. Any questions or comments from school board members? Moving on. F, subsidy memo.
I'm sure you all know how sad Jeremy is to not be here for this particular memo.
Very sad.
I will speak at much less length than he would about our subsidy. However, it unfortunately isn't great news. If you take a look at the allocations that are, again, just preliminary allocations, so we will have time before we're certain about what these numbers will look like. What we see in those numbers is that our state share has gone up just over $87,000, which sounds like it's not bad, but when we're looking at a total EPS allocation of $41,787 and around 900, that's not really a big percentage increase. So any increase that we have with the budget that we present to the finance committee, then to the board and to the city, any increase, basically over 0.41% would have to be shouldered by local taxpayers. So that's certainly something that we're keeping in mind as we continue to look at the budget through all of those areas. Just to give you a little look under the hood, though Jeremy explains it in much greater depth, two major factors that push into that number not increasing as much as we might anticipate. We have a property valuation increase of about 11% compared to the previous year, and the higher the valuation increase, they look at the state increase in valuation, and those above or below or close to that average increase in valuation see less subsidy. The thinking, of course, behind that is that communities that have higher home values in sum total should be able to shoulder a greater local burden for the tax burden in terms of education. And then the second component that impacts that is the pupil count decrease of 1% that we had. And a further impact in that pupil decrease is around the weight for ML or ESOL students. There's an additional weighted count in the subsidy for students that are flagged as multilingual learners. So with our decrease being in that particular subgroup, we lose kind of a disproportionate amount per pupil in terms of the decrease in the population. Just to give you kind of an idea of how we are looking in comparison to the rest of the state, the average statewide change in valuation was 15%, so we are still below that average state valuation increase. However, we're close enough to it that it's not going to help us in terms of seeing a major shift. So really what we're looking at is that districts that have lower valuation increases and either stable or growing subgroup populations in either economically disadvantaged or multilingual learners, or greater population increases in their overall student counts, will see more substantial state funding increases. And those who have valuation growth like Saco that are closer to that average are seeing a relatively flat or overall decline in their state subsidy. It's important to note that that number will eventually include additional state funding around the school construction process, and that's an adjustment to the allocation, but really that's just like a direct repayment to the bond that the city has. So even though that will make it look on paper like we're getting a lot more money, that money is already, that check is kind of already written and not in the mail yet. So we may look statewide, if you see other comparisons, like we're in great shape, but we need to adjust with that school construction process to know that that extra money coming in isn't something that we can add to our budget. As we continue to move into the FY27 budget development process, that kind of flat rate of only a 0.41% increase means that any operating costs that we see, including those that are contractual year-over-year increases, health insurance increases, special education services increases to slightly known costs, though they fluctuate, such as utilities, all of those costs are anticipated to go up. And so we have to kind of keep in mind the need to grow things that we might want to grow with those that we already know will inherently increase over time. Again, the construction aid, once it's applied, will offset the debt service, but won't be able to become part of our operational money that we would use to fund the budget. And I also want to emphasize that these are preliminary, and the legislative action following the state budget will confirm our final allocation. And Jeremy's happy to answer any questions you might have. I'll give it my best shot, though.
Any questions for Assistant Superintendent Parkhurst? Oh, sorry, I was going to say Mercy's been given, but School Board Member Roach has a question for you.
Oh, I know he's watching, so let's first of all, great presentation. I think everyone's still awake over there, so that's a good start. One thing that, there's been some changes, not just you get the state subsidy, which again, Jeremy knows that stuff back and forth, but he also knows that, main care could be an issue with revenue assumptions there. Of course, it's a very, very small part, but, the federal Department of Education on that. So I would like, when we get close to budget here, I'd like to recommend to show the board and then therefore the public, if we propose an increase, well, when we propose an increase, lay out what the fixed increases are, the contracted, the contracts we have with employees, but also any outside services. Lay that out, lay out what could be short coming in from the state or the federal government. That would be the local responsibility. Put specifically, we have Thornton that we always want to, abide by what the MAT increase was plus some cushion. So just I would lay it out that way so we can maybe, handle some of maybe the emotional part of it, but also show that these are numbers, public, that people that might fight tax increases or need to know what the reasons are. I think this year specifically is more important than prior years for that. Okay, that's enough boring talk. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions or comments? All right, next is, I think we're up to letter G for second reading of policies. School Board Member Johnston?
Thank you. Yes, so this is, I realize what I'm reading here is slightly confusing because it actually says first readings of policies at the top and down at the bottom second. And I believe we are talking second.
Yeah, I double-checked the other version.
Okay, thank you very much. I move we approve the second reading of policies BEDD, Rules of Order, BEDF, Voting Method, BEDFA, Abstentions, BEDH-E, Public Participation at School Board Meetings and Agenda Item Requests, BEDI, Board Relations with the Media, BEDJ, Broadcasting Taping of Board Meetings, Broadcasting/taping of Board Meetings, BG, School Board Policy, BG-R, School Board Policy Procedure, BEDC, Quorum, BEDG, Minutes, and BEDL, Adjournment of Board Meetings.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion made by School Board Member Johnston and a second by School Board Member Preble. Any discussion? Okay. School Board Member Roach.
On the public participation at school board meetings where, it's not on the agenda. So this is a way for the public to try to get something on the agenda. Maybe Beth, from your earlier time, when this was adopted in 2019, how was this promoted, and how is envisioned this is promoted for this year or future? How do the people know that this exists, besides being in our policy packet?
Well, I suppose we could say they could look at our policy manual, but I would imagine I would hope that if someone had an issue that they wanted to see put on the agenda, they would in fact seek some input from, would think it would be the superintendent, or any of his,
Yeah, or the chair, I think, they can also bring it up. to
right,
us.
exactly. So that those avenues are open. But I think that policy, hold on 1 second, if I can find it, does give you the option of actually writing out a request, but it does not mandate that you do that in order to speak to someone about getting an item on that agenda.
Yeah, because it doesn't guarantee it. It says we may add this item to the agenda. If someone writes this out, it doesn't mean we're going to put it on the agenda. It's just-
No,
Yeah,
it doesn't. It means that we will consider it. It will go to policy, as I recall, meeting first, assuming that it's deemed acceptable to go there, and then will be reviewed for possible putting on the agenda. Did we talk about this one before? You asked me this, or it was a different one, I think.
it's a different, yeah. Because I didn't see it like this, or it was a different thing, I think. I was going to ask.
Did you ask me also, Kevin, about something of history?
Oh, well, I mean, if it was in 2019, there was a lot of different issues going on, and I
Yeah.
think people were questioning, why aren't we addressing this? So I think I saw the need, I can imagine the need back then. And it's been a relatively quiet year, but there have been a couple issues brought up, and sometimes we have to remind the public that you can public speak, but we're not going to debate what you just brought up. So maybe one idea is maybe we print this and it's up there in case they want to go up and,
Yeah, we've discussed that, I think, at policy too, like keeping a copy handy,
yeah, just
either
one.
up here and
Right.
up here for reference. just
Okay.
So that if there's any questions about what is and isn't allowed, that we can.
Yep.
So,
Okay, that's all. Thanks.
Does that answer your question?
Yep, yep.
Hopefully it is clear enough, but thank you for asking.
Thanks.
any other questions, comments, thoughts, dreams? Okay. All right, roll call vote. Oh, School Board Member Preble,
Yes.
School Board Member Richard,
Yes.
School Board Member Roach,
Yes.
School Board Member Kidder,
Yes.
I vote yes. School Board Member Johnston.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. All right, number 13, other information. I don't have any other information. Oh,
I have
School Board Member
one
Preble.
piece of information. Shout out to TA. I think it was the student council that came into Seal Rock today, and they were handing out Valentines to all of our residents at Seal Rock, which was fantastic, and also all the staff. So even I, as a social worker, got one. So I just wanted to tell them, as I promised, I would let them know thank you at a school board meeting. So thank you guys for coming. It's always a joy to see students from the Saco school system come into the center.
that's really sweet. Anybody else? Okay. Number 14, executive session. There is no executive session. 15, adjournment. Adjournment.
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion by School Board Member Preble,
Second.
second by School Board Member Richard. Any discussion? Roll call. School Board Member Preble.
Yes.
School Board Member Richard.
Yes.
School Board Member Roach.
Truckin', I'm going home. Yes.
School Board Member Kidder.
Yes.
School Board Member Johnston.
Yes.
I vote yes, 6-0, adjournment at 7:36. Have a good night. See you next time.